Hello, beautiful random people on the internet. My name is John, but people call me Narwhal, and I've somehow never seen a superhero movie. Until recently, when I started this challenge to watch every single one of them in order and then make a video on literally every single one. I think this is part 10 or 11 of 85, so we're going to be at this for a while, and I encourage you guys to subscribe and follow along with me on this journey. There's actually a link to the Google Doc that has every single movie in order if you guys want to follow along with me. But anyways, we're here to talk about Blade. Blade was pretty sick. I think people were asking me like which one is your favorite so far, and I can confidently say the first Blade was my favorite out of all the movies, slightly above the original Superman from 1978. But keep in mind, like I said, there's only been 10 or 11 movies so far, so there's still a long ways to go. But don't get me wrong, this movie didn't have me jumping up and down, and like I didn't FaceTime my buddy and say, oh my god, bro, if you watch Blade, Blade is so sick, dude, it's gonna change your life, you're gonna cry, bro, that end credit scene. That's my imitation of people that are diehard MCU fans. But anyways, I'm just kidding. I honestly don't know if any of these superhero movies will really get me that invested to where I have to tell people about it, where I add it to my list of favorite movies ever. I don't know if I can get to that point with any of these movies or these characters, but maybe I could be proven wrong. But let's talk about Blade. Right off the bat, I really enjoyed this movie because half vampires and half humans kind of coexisting and ruling the world makes more sense to me than a lot of these villains in these stories seem like they're just in the regular society and they just somehow evade capture and evade police, and they always have some mansion or some lair that I've said many times, and I'll continue to say it. These movies aren't meant to be realistic, and I get that. But to me as a viewer, when I watch a movie like Blade, I am engaged more because it feels like that could actually happen more than like the Joker killing a bunch of people and then somehow getting away and just chilling in his office and nothing happens as a result of those crimes. I don't know. Does that make sense? Keep in mind, half the opinions and the stances I take on these reviews, I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. Like, I don't even know if I'm agreeing or debating myself. But to me, that premise is really interesting because there could be vampires right now. Half the people could be vampires. Your family could be vampires. And maybe you are a vampire watching this, and I just don't know. Like, I actually kind of could see how that could happen. All I'm saying is Mark Zuckerberg seems like kind of a weird guy. Pretty pale skin. Put two and two together. I don't know, man. Isn't there that picture of Mark Zuckerberg wearing like a ton of sunscreen? I also just love that Blade knew what it was and it succeeded at that. It was a bloody action movie that was intense and it had cool shit and cool stunts and lots of blood, and you know, I can respect that. For example, at the start of the movie, there's the scene where they go into a club and I had no idea what Blade was even about, and I went into it blind. So they're in this club and I thought, you know, maybe there'd be like a gangster, like some people with guns that, you know, I thought there would be some altercation, but instead what happened was blood just started pouring from the ceiling in a rave environment and everyone just started going nuts, and that just threw me totally off guard, and I was pleasantly surprised with the direction it went in. But I have a trope that I want to discuss that just pisses me off, all right? I know this will happen so many times in the upcoming movies, but there's this scene where Blade drops off the main girl, I forget her name, but he drops her off in the city, and as he's driving away, he says, remember, they're everywhere. To like remind her, you know, keep your eye out because the vampires could be anywhere. You got to be careful. And then as he's driving away, she yells, but it's daylight. And then that's the end of the scene. And I'm just like, you guys were in the car together. There was literally a shot right before that where their car is driving over like a huge bridge. I think they're in New York City. I don't know where they are, but they were in the car together for at least like 10 to maybe even 30 minutes. You're telling me that whole ride, she didn't ask him some clarifying questions like, oh, when it's daylight, can they be out? Or he might remind her in the car, hey, you know, keep your eye out because they're everywhere. They wait until they literally drop them off and are driving away to say a crucial piece of information. I just wish that writers who made these movies would treat it how they treat regular dramas or like art house movies, or I don't know, the movies I like. They're written in a way where like the characters make decisions that make sense. Usually, obviously they're shitty movies where, and in every movie, some characters make decisions they probably wouldn't make in real life. But I just don't get why there can't be a writer for one of these superhero movies where the characters like do their best to avoid getting into situations where there's battles, and like you just think they would do a better job of like avoiding certain things if they communicated better. And it would be cool to see these characters do that in film, to be like, you know, we're going to this battle, but maybe if we talked a little bit beforehand, oh my God, we could avoid the whole altercation in the first place. And I know that as like a fan, as a diehard fan, you want to see action. You want to see Iron Man fucking plow through some shit or blow some shit up. I just feel like these directors or writers never really subvert your expectations. I think that's a better way to put it. Like, what if there was a superhero movie where the superhero has certain powers, but 20 minutes in, you know, something happens where they actually don't have those powers, or where maybe an hour into the movie, the main superhero dies, and then it's like, holy shit, I didn't expect that, because it's called Iron Man. I expected Iron Man in it, but oh my God, Iron Man's dead? Shit like that never happens, which is why I always feel like these movies are so predictable. Hopefully that little rant made sense. I don't even know if it did, but I don't want that to sound like that's particularly an issue with Blade. It's just I've noticed that in every movie. Overall, I think Blade was pretty good. The action sequences are really well directed and just really well shot, in my opinion. I don't know what like the gold standard is. I recently watched John Wick, and I've heard that is like that the director for that and the stunt team is, you know, one of the best in the business. And I could tell watching John Wick, like, wow, this is impressive. And I felt the same way watching Blade. It's just one of those movies that would be fun to experience in a theater setting when you're with the boys, and then Blade fucking chop some people up and you're like, oh shit, that was epic. To defend superhero movies, I have to say, at the very least, most of them have something that's epic about them. And for that reason, I totally get why people love them, because you go into this experience and you witness something epic. I can get that. I can appreciate that. And Blade knows exactly what it's trying to do, which is, I think, why I liked it so much. But I did have a question. There's this scene where Blade is basically gonna go like raid or break into this vampire club at nighttime, and he just blasts the bouncer through like 3 glass windows, and it's like kind of a cool scene where like the guy goes flying through the glass and everything. But then the next scene, or like one of the following scenes, Blade is just walking through the club like nothing happened, and no one's like saying, hey, stop that guy, and no one's running after him. I don't know, did he just kill every single person out in the lobby that witnessed that? Or it just seems weird that like, I know he's Blade and he can fuck some people up and like he can easily annihilate a whole group, I get that, but it didn't show that. And then it just shows him walking through this club and like everyone's just looking at him like nothing happened. But overall, Blade was a pretty good experience. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I could see myself watching that with a friend that, you know, loves and appreciates Blade one day, but not something that I'm gonna throw on all the time. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to mention, shout out to Steven Dorff. I think that's how you say his name. It's the guy who plays Deacon Frost. I have always just absolutely loved him as an actor, particularly because he has this movie called Break that nobody's ever heard of, that it's kind of a dumb movie, but I love it so much and it holds a really special place in my heart. And I actually have a video of it on this channel. It's the first video I ever uploaded, and it's basically just trying to defend this movie that everyone shits on. It's a contained thriller and it's called Break, and I highly recommend you check it out because every time I show it to one of my friends, they end up really liking it. Anyway, I have heard the next 2 get worse, but then I've also heard from some people that like Blade 2 is way better than Blade 1. So I don't know, I've heard mixed things. So if you guys want to keep up to date with this and follow along on my journey, be sure to subscribe here, leave a like on this video, and comment down below. I'd love to hear stuff from you guys and interact with you guys because I don't know anything. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. And if you like me and this content, be sure to check out my podcast called Peak to Middle School. It is linked down below, and there are 2 episodes every single week. This is our studio right here. It's really cool. I work really hard on it, and I would love if you guys would check it out. Anyways, new videos every other day reviewing these movies, and I'm also working on some really cool videos that are film related that's not superhero movie stuff. That's just a passion video for me, and things that I really have wanted to talk about for a long time. I just never felt like I knew how or when to approach them. There's channels like Thomas Flight, Carson Runquist, Your Movie Sucks, Mr. Sunday Movies, 24 Frames of Nick, Shea Frillis Productions, all those type of people. I love those type of videos, and if you know those names, I'm gonna try and make content similar to that moving forward. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.